are back, and joining us via Zoom, we have with us Adela Pederson, Vallejos, along with a full staff, a full house. And Adela is the president of To'one Masehualoon, which is an NGO stationed in Corozal. And Adela, I will give you the opportunity to introduce the members of your party this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I am the president of To'one Masehualoon. Pleased to be with everybody this morning. This is Mr. Roy Rodriguez, our vice president.
Hi, Mr. Roy. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
And then we have Ms. Sadie Vales, the coordinator of the Corozal House of Culture.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
morning.
And we have Ms. Christina. She's director of music for our cultural preservation group.
Good morning.
Good
and
morning.
of course, we have Saselha, our teaching puppet.
How do you say good morning in Yucatec?
Malokin.
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 So
Kin.
Kin.
kin, like
Malokin.
Malokin.
Yes.
All right. Well, I wanted to, I asked about the language because I know that it's no secret, Miss Adela, that one of the reasons why To'one exists is because you wanted to connect with your Yucatec heritage through language. So let's start with your NGO. Tell us about it.
Yes, our NGO started 6 years ago, and we have a bold mission statement, and it is to preserve every aspect of the Yucatec Maya culture. So the main one starting with the language, and this is where we go into Resistance Day celebration. You know, because of colonialism, the language has practically been eradicated from the people. Today's current generation does not know how to speak the language of their ancestry, the Yucatec Maya language, and that's what we do primarily. Is we teach everyone that has a listening ear to speak Yucatec Maya, and we need to preserve this culture for the next generations. One of the biggest travesty is to eradicate a language from a people, and that is exactly what is happening in Belize. So that is our main focus, but beyond that, we go and we are preserving the spirituality, which is another way of resistance, because we have such a backlash from different groups that will say that the Maya spirituality is tantamount to hedonism and all this negativity, but we are right there at the forefront, quietly, gently resisting to this day, that we are so excited that for the first time, the country of Belize is recognizing that the Maya people, the indigenous people of Belize do exist, that they have contributed a lot to this country, and they should be celebrated. They should be prideful of what they have managed to maintain up to this day. So that's what we're about.
How much resistance have you seen when it comes to the younger generation, this generation, in terms of embracing the language, in terms of embracing the culture?
We are reaping the effects of colonialism, in which the younger generation does not understand connecting to your identity, connecting to your roots, connecting to your ancestry, connecting to your spirituality. That incentive has been removed from the current generation. Our group here in Corozal, we are very lucky that the now generation that we work with have approached us and asked us to help them to speak Yucatec Maya. This summer with Miss Christina and I, we actually had an opportunity to teach the children about the Maya spirituality. So on our event coming up on Monday, we are going to incorporate the children in our the first event, which is the ritual to the cardinal points, and the children will be involved in that. So that is one more area in which we are gently resisting.
Let's talk about the education to the wider population of Belize. So when we think about the Maya in Belize, when we think about our indigenous population in Belize, we often classify them as mestizo, or we often classify them as just one big group. Tell us how To'one is breaking those kinds of myths and showcasing the uniqueness of each culture in Belize.
Thank you very much. Wonderful question. The way how we are doing it is by educating, and we have wonderful educators in our group. And the area of the mestizaje, we teach people. The best way to explain that is the International Labor Organization has tried to define what being indigenous means. And it means that if your ancestry goes back to before colonialism or before the invaders came, then you are indigenous. Now it's left to you to self-identify as indigenous. However, what has happened with colonialism is that in Belize, the people will just look at a brown person like myself and say, hey, you must be a mestizo. So I have to self-identify and say, no, I am Maya because my grandfather was Maya. And so most people, this education has started in the schools, in the homes, and they will say, well, you look brown and you look like a Spanish boy, you must be mestizo. And so we take on that label of being mestizo. But actually mestizo comes from a discriminatory expression, meaning that because you were not born in Spain, you are therefore not Spanish. So if you're not Spanish, you have to be something other than. So it's a broad conversation that we have brought up, and for us the education continues. I am, besides myself, when I go to the Maya-speaking communities, such as Cristo Rey and all the other ones, and I hear the teachers in school teaching the children that there are no Mayas left, that they have been extinct, or that they are mestizo, when actually they are in a Maya community, so therefore these children are Maya. Predominantly Yucatec Maya here in Corozal. So as you can see, our work has just begun.
Wow.
What distinguishes the Yucatec Mayas in Corozal from the Maya community down south?
The Quechua and
like
the
Quechua and the Mopan. What's the distinguishing factors?
What distinguishes a group is their culture, their tradition, their language, their foods, their attire, music, etc. So when you go to the north, right away you will see the clothing is different, and you go, oh, where did that come from? Such as this one, the Yipil, is Yucatec Maya. And then when you go down south, you'll see the Maya people dressing a little bit differently. They speak a different dialect, still Maya, but a different dialect of Maya. And their traditions are maybe similar and slightly different. Yeah. So that's how you can distinguish the different group of Maya in Belize. Because the Maya in the north, the food is different from the Maya in the south and so forth. So there's some slight differences.
I want to go into more so the language, because you did mention language, and I know that is on the list of your vision for your NGO. I was reading a post on your Facebook web page by Andy Chuk, and it was talking about the resistance in language and writing, and I wanted to to ask how you all are connecting yourselves to that writing. He did mention kind of relaying back to the Chilambalam books and seeing how we are connected through writing with the indigenous language and so forth. So I wanna focus more on those kinds of connections and those ways of resistance.
Okay, great. And so I'm gonna just turn the camera a little bit so Mr. Roy could also participate in this conversation.
Sure.
Hand it over to Mr. Roy.
Thank you, Adelita. I just want to maybe explain a little more on that differentiation that exists in our own culture. Maya culture, or the Maya in Belize. I think you must remember history and colonialism to point out one basic difference that was created by the British, during the colonial period. And not only between us, even from the Garifuna who are indigenous to Belize. Well, not to Belize, but around indigenous people. Their racist policy divided us for so many years. We did not even know about the Quechua and the Mopan. Okay, we Yucatec Maya in Corozal. So that is the colonialism that we are trying to raise here. And I want to point out that Tune Masehualoon is an example of the resistance that we are celebrating. We will be celebrating on the 10th of October. We are the resistance here, and we continue that resistance. And I think you heard Adela explaining to you ways that we are fighting, ways that we are stressing that resistance in the north. I would just want to add one more thing here, that when we speak about Yucatec Maya, we're speaking about a large geographical area. We're talking about all the Yucatan Peninsula. So the Yucatec Maya, we want to stress Belize. And we, in fact, are Chactemal Maya within the Yucatecan Peninsula, the Yucatecan Maya. So we want to identify, just like the Quechua Maya in the south, we want people to understand that we are the Chactemal Maya, that were controlling all the area in all northern Belize, part of southern Yucatan, which is today the state of Quintana Roo. So that, and Yucatan is so big, with Chichen Itza and all the other temples, that we want to identify ourselves as the Chactemal Maya, a very, very prosperous, rich province that was, in fact, attempted to be conquered in 1511 with the arrival of the first European.
Does the Chactemal have any association with the current name Chetumal?
No, none at all. None at all. In fact, Chetumal was born in 1538. Chetumal was Payobispo. That was the original name.
Okay.
No, none at all.
So then the Chactemal Maya are of our region here in the North Corozal, and the label Yucatec is just to give emphasis that they're Maya from that part of the region as well.
Right.
Yes.
That's right. You're correct. Yes. But we identify ourselves as the Chactemal Maya. And let me tell you, just add one more thing, that in terms of resistance, the Chactemal Maya had to resist the two greatest powers of the time, that is Spain and England. It started in 1511, 1531 with the arrival of the Spanish, and in the late 1670s, 1720s, the arrival of the British when they were expelled from the Bay of Campeche, cutting logwood. Remember that the British had turned into woodcutters from piracy. No, they no longer were pirates and cutting logwood, and they were expelled around 1720s, 1730s, and they were the first well, not the first, the Spanish were the second Europeans to enter the coastal areas of Belize, and the first areas were in the Chactemal area. All what is today Corozal, Sarteneja, all those areas there were now occupied by the British. And the Maya had to resist, because wood cutting meant that wood cutting was really inimical or an enemy of the milpa system. The Maya did not know about logwood and mahogany as being money earning objects. So what happened is that the first Maya to feel the British displacement, because they don't agree with that, but they started displacing the Maya all from Chactemal, pushing them more into northwest into the Orange region, what is today, but all that area down to Lamanai was Chactemal. Chactemal was a very large province, even reaching the Belize River. you know, from the Rio Hondo to the, which is no Kum in Maya, and the New River, through the New River, which is the Winnicom River, and influencing or even using the Belize River for their trade purposes.
Yes, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, ask me. Yeah.
I was going to say that I'd like to envision the Maya as the longest resisting group in history, because when we talk about them and their resistance, it never stopped. They were never conquered, and they kept fighting. Right? So, yeah, up until today. So when we talk about indigenous resistance, we highlight it as the longest resistance in history.
Yeah. And can I tell you that that resistance started in 1531 with the arrival of the two, you know, Gonzalo Guerrero and the other one, Aguilar, into Chactemal. They arrived in Chactemal. 1531, 1511, 20 years later, the Spanish commander, Adela, sending sending ambassadors to Chactemal to ask for tribute. And we know that the then chief, the Maya leader, Nachankan answers, you know, we'll send you turkeys in the shape of spears and corn in the shape of arrows. So that's the resistance that Chactemal started. We were the initiators of that resistance, and which spread into the peninsula as the Spanish moved into the Yucatan.
So I want to, because time is going. So Paul is learning, and I am learning, and we could go on forever. But I really want to highlight the first annual Indigenous Resistance Day hosted by Tone. So let's talk about what you have planned for the day, what the schedule will be like. Are you going to be playing some pok tapok? So tell us some more.
Yes, indeed. And here I have Sadie Bales, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the coordination for the day. But we have partnered up with Niche and the House of Culture, so we're ready to go. We have an exciting day.
Good morning once again, guys. I'll try to wrap it up like you say, since time is. So basically, we're very prideful that this day is going to be celebrated here in Corozal. Most importantly, it's going to be in the Direct Village here at the Corozal district. So what we have planned for this day is basically an official ceremony where we will be crowning a Maya princess. Well, more than one princess, because how Miss Adela had mentioned, they had hosted a summer program, which the kids in itself, you know, they were very involved. And I think we need to give recognition to those kids who wanted to learn and want to learn. Apart from that, we will be having cultural presentations as dances. We will have a spiritual ceremony, like Ms. Adela had mentioned. We will be having food from pibil to tamales, you could imagine. And definitely we will be having a presentation of the Pok Tapok ball game. So I think everyone is very curious to see how it turns out, you know. We know of the game, but I don't think we've actually seen them play it as yet. And that is one of the things that we want to incorporate here in Corozal, probably since they will be performing and actually playing the game, then we can try to have the kids eventually try to learn this game. It's a very aggressive one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with the luck, you know, we can also have that as part of a resistance where they are enticed to learn and want to know how this is played. We will be having games, tug of war, greasy pig, everything that includes a family-oriented day, you know.
You talked about food, and you mentioned pibil and tamal. Is pibil a traditional Yucatec Maya dish? I just have to ask. Is that a fact?
I bet you like it. You like it, right?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Like every time pibil come up, I ready for go buy and I ready for eat.
Is pibil a Yucatec word?
Yes.
It is. Okay, see, there you go. That's a lesson learned for me. And then tamales, I don't know. Is that also a traditional Yucatec maize? Like you do it different from others? How does that work?
I guess Miss Adela could
Yes,
speak more on how it's the preparation.
The tamales, you have the tamales torteado, is the one that is cooked on the fogon. And then the tamales pibil is the one that you put in the ground. And that one takes a lot of hours to complete. But we're going to have both types of tamales.
Shucks. I have to call. I have to call try it. I think. What other foods would you have beside the pibil and the tamales?
Well, we have traditional Corozal foods like escabeche, chirmole, relleno, garnachas, tostadas, and the list goes on and on.
Wow.
So when is it? It's going to be on Monday the 10th.
Exactly, from 9 to 4 o'clock. I'm encouraging everyone to please come out at 9 because we really want to get started, and the ceremony part will be the most important part because, as you know, the Maya were quite spiritual and everything is
Opening ceremonies.
give thanks to God before. So I want to say that we have teamed up with the Shaibe Village Council and the chairman of Shaibe, Mr. Luciano No, and they have worked tremendously wonderfully with us. So we're looking forward to bring a wonderful event to the village of Shaibe and the surrounding villages. I'll take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, who are Niche, the Ministry of Human Development, of course, the Rum Punch Lodge, Corozal, that's where we're coming from today, and also Radio Romantica FM. So thanks everybody who supported this event. And then also it's the first one, so we can't have everything that we had on our wish list. But from here, following this event should continue to grow larger and larger.
Perfect. Ms. Adela, thank you to you and your team and all that you do for Indigenous resistance, the continuation of Indigenous resistance.
Thank you. You wrote it, Kanantaba.
How do you say bye?
Kanantaba.
Kanantaba.
Yeah. In Maya, a lot of the expressions are not literal. So Kanantaba just means take care.
Take care.
Kanantaba.
I like that.
And thank you very much. So we thank you guys very much for this opportunity this morning.
You're part of the resistance too.
Of course, always. And with that, we are going to take another break and we'll be back with our second conversation for this morning. So stay tuned.